Welcome to the Visionary Chronicles, a podcast dedicated to uncovering the strategies and insights that drive innovative, disruptive businesses. Join us as we explore the mindsets, cultures, and solutions powering the next generation of industry leaders and creative trailblazers. Whether you're seeking to inject new life into your organization or spark transformative growth, the Visionary Chronicles is your guide to executable, cutting-edge business strategy. Hello and welcome to the Visionary Chronicles podcast. Appreciate you being with us today. We've got a very special episode today, one that kind of leads into a new book that I'm writing, which is The Visionary Leader. Those of you that purchased the Visionary brand know that I put together this formula. This formula, the success formula really, behind the world's most visionary brands, which is the Visionary brand, and those of you who purchased the brand, greatly appreciated. And more importantly, those that were able to apply what I talk about in my book, I really appreciate that as well. I get a lot of great feedback from leaders in the industry saying how they've been able to apply what we talk about in the book. So the second book, and actually a triad that I'm working on, which is the Visionary brand first, the Visionary Leader second, and then the Visionary product. So I've got the manuscript done. That'll be released early next year, but I'm starting to talk about Visionary Leaders now, which is very interesting. So I take a snapshot back to generations, which I thought was a very interesting thing to do. And visionaries aren't just current. Visionaries have been back to generations ago. And I really like talking about this and how they apply to our world today, which I think is very important for us to take a look back on, which not a lot of people do. And when I put a few podcasts together, like Alexander the Great, Socrates, these great visionaries, I got a lot of feedback from people going, wow, that was really a great podcast and really didn't know all that these great visionaries had accomplished. So welcome to the Chronicle 167, which is the Visionary Chronicles. We're going to explore these ageless, what I call leadership lessons today. And from some of the world's most influential figures. You know, some you have heard of, maybe some you haven't heard from. And we're going to talk about a few today. So we'll explore today visionaries, 5 leadership traits of visionary icons. I like to keep this down into 4 or 5. It's just easier for you to remember and a lot easier for us to apply this to your day-to-day. So kind of taking a step back as well, when I started the Visionary Chronicles, I really wanted this to be something that you could apply not only personally but professionally to your leadership career. And the more you can apply these visionary leadership principles, these areas of leadership that others have proven to be successful, I felt that I would be a success as a result of doing that. And so I hope that you find what I talk about useful to your day-to-day, and also one that you can apply to your day-to-day, not only personally but professionally. I felt that was important as well. So we're going to draw some insights today from lives and legacies of a few visionaries, not all of them, a few, like Steve Jobs, Leonardo da Vinci, Albert Einstein, Thomas Edison, Socrates, and Alexander the Great. Yeah, that's a great lineup. So I've tried to keep this as concise as possible, but I'll be talking a lot about these visionary leaders. So today, I just wanted to start out with some traits. And I talked about 5 leadership traits of visionary icons. And also I wanted to do a shout out to those who have subscribed to the Visionary Chronicles. Very much appreciated. And those who have not, please go to briansmeltzer.com, BRYANSMELTZER.com, or go to Apple Podcasts, iHeart, Spotify, Google Play, any of these that you'll be able to subscribe to the Visionary Chronicles. We always appreciate it. And if you're kind enough to leave a review, it would even be more appreciated. And you'll be rewarded as a result, and we'll talk about that as we move through the podcast today. So let's talk about these visionaries, these 5 leadership traits of visionary icons. So one question I always like to put out there, and I find it to be intriguing questions when I put together the podcast, is, why are authentic, true visionaries so rare? And when I whiteboard this with Liquid Mind, or I work with our brands and I look with our leadership series through sessions, and we have a one-to-one advisory with me personally, as well as through our team at Liquid Mind at liquidmindsite.com, liquidmindsite.com, where we call it sessions. And we really like to call it sessions because these are really events that we put together that are meant to be one-to-one. Specific problems our visionary leaders are facing, our companies are facing, our brands are facing, and really trying to get to crux of the problem and then put together a step-by-step strategy and plan for help them to execute it to success. So one of the questions that we put up here, why are these authentic, true visionaries so rare? And the other thing is, what traits do most of these visionary leaders have in common? And we always talked about activation, expectation and activation, right? Is that we also have to see how we can apply that to our leadership. So I looked at 5. There's a ton of them, but I felt these 5 were extremely important. They really also were specific around these 5 leaders in particular. They all had these traits. Didn't matter who it was. So what I like to find when I present this to you as leaders, as visionary leaders, in your step process to achieving your vision, is, what do others do? What do other visionary leaders do that have had sustainable success throughout their career, generational success? And so the 5 that we're going to talk about today are really those common traits on those ones that I had talked about. These leaders today: Steve Jobs, Leonardo da Vinci, Albert Einstein, Thomas Edison, Socrates, and Alexander the Great. I love the generational play on all of these great visionary leaders. And the quote I'd like to talk about today is from Socrates, actually. He says, "The secret of change is to focus all your energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new." What a great, timeless quote from Socrates. The secret of change is to focus all of your energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new. There's too many people. And I talk about commodity brands a lot, and I talk about a true brand. And I shouldn't say commodity brand because it's an oxymoron. There's really not a commodity brand. You're either a commodity or you're a brand. And the commodities are not fighting the old. Brands should always be fighting the old and focusing on the new, getting rid of the old and moving on to the new. So the first lesson we'll talk about is relentless curiosity. All of these visionaries had relentless curiosity, and you should too. It's one of these things that you need to be asking the question all the time is why? And these leaders would always ask that question: why are things the way they are? And how can I change them? How can I impact our world by changing this? And that comes out of not just being curious. The word that you put in front of there is relentless curiosity. Always asking questions, driving people crazy to the point of, does he never, or he or she, stop asking questions? So what curiosity does, though, is it drives innovation and what I call discovery. It's a trait that's really characterized in Leonardo da Vinci and Albert Einstein. When you look at Da Vinci, he had this limitless curiosity that led him to explore art, photography, anatomy, engineering, and numerous other fields that he succeeded in. He left this legacy that surpassed any one of these individual disciplines. And also with Edison, he had this curiosity about the universe and the fundamentals laws that led to groundbreaking theories that we still talk about and use today, that bring reality to the things that don't seem so real to us. And Einstein was a classic, relentless and curious visionary. And he created these, again, the reshaping through his theories of reality and understanding of our life today in the impact that he's had still for generations. And Steve Jobs, I talk about Steve a lot, and you'll hear his name a lot in this podcast today by design. I love Steve. I loved all that he stood for. I loved what Steve created. I loved how Steve led. He was truly a visionary. And he also embodied this relentless curiosity. He was constantly pushing boundaries to create products that were not only functional, but revolutionary. Think of that blending. When you're doing products, anybody out there is a leader of product. And I was fortunate enough to be vice president of product and marketing for some very iconic brands like TaylorMade and Adidas Golf and different brands and Football Shut. But it's just one of these things, when you look at it, it's hard from a product perspective to make it functional, but then revolutionary at the same time. What happens is when you start to build more into a product, it becomes more complicated. It may be revolutionary, but not that functional. Or it becomes functional, but not revolutionary. But to have both blended with Steve's creations and products is truly genius and visionary. So as leaders, as leaders, foster a culture of creativity and curiosity within yourself, and more importantly, in your team. That's what builds passion. It drives us to explore new ideas, question, I love this, the status quo, and continuously seeking improvement. Lesson number 2 is failure as a stepping stone. And Thomas Edison, and I've mentioned this quote a few times, famously said when he was inventing the light bulb, "I've not failed. I've found 10,000 ways that won't work." Can you imagine if Thomas Edison stopped at 9,999, just said, "I had enough"? Now, not everybody can be this persistent, but Thomas Edison was. We would have never had the light bulb when we did. And we would have probably set back generations as a result. The mindset of viewing failure as a necessary part of the overall journey to success is crucial for any visionary leader to understand. And Edison's, let's just say, perseverance through countless experiments ultimately led to the invention of the light bulb, which was a transformational innovation. Obviously, we still use it today, and there's been a lot of variations from it as a result. And also with Steve, you faced numerous setbacks throughout his career, not just on product, but from a culture perspective. He was ousted from Apple, the company he founded, but he used these failures as learning experience, eventually turning to lead Apple to be the most valuable company on the planet. So you as visionary leaders, or aspiring visionary leaders, understand that failure is not the end, but rather as a stepping stone towards achieving success. And Seth Godin said, he says, safe is risky. No great product has ever been built, made, or commercialized without failing first. So understand that's part of the process in your journey. Number 3 is inspirational vision. I love this one as well, because what it is a clear and compelling vision, which is the hallmark of every great visionary leader. A clear and compelling vision. You must have it. And those two words combined together, you can't just have a clear vision. That's not inspiring enough. It has to be compelling. This is where we find with most leaders that we work with is they give us either a compelling vision or a clear vision. A compelling vision that's blurred, or a clear vision that isn't really passionate. So the visionaries combine both, a clear and compelling vision. Alexander the Great, vision of this massive, vast empire that he controlled, unified under his role, drove him to achieve military successes that are unparalleled in history. If you get a chance, I have it in the book. I talk about Alexander the Great specifically and all his accomplishments and how you can apply his characteristics to your visionary leadership. he is an interesting visionary to look at. His ability to inspire and motivate his troops through the vision was absolutely the key to his success. And Steve also possessed this extraordinary ability. We've all seen it. Thousand songs in your pocket, one more thing, make a dent in the universe. I can go on and on with Steve and how he inspired this clear and compelling vision. He not only built this vision, he executed the vision through his team and others. So he had this really innate ability to articulate a vision that inspired both his team and the world. When Steve passed away, you got a real feel of how much everybody embraced Steve in particular, the person, the personality, the visionary. His vision for Apple was just not about creating products. It was about changing the world through technology. And you as leaders have to have a vision that not only guides your actions, but also inspires those around you to strive day to day for this common goal. Lesson number 4 is lead with wisdom and integrity. Socrates, who was one of the most influential philosophers in the world, taught the importance of wisdom, integrity, and self-awareness. Those are beautiful characteristics when you think of that importance of wisdom, integrity, and self-awareness in leadership. Not a lot of people have all three. His method of questioning and dialogue, really known as this, what they call a Socrates method. So he would answer a question with a question and have people go through this critical thinking and introspection. Principles that are relevant to leadership today as they were in this ancient Greece when he was living. So Socrates' emphasis on ethics and the pursuit of truth serves as a reminder to leaders today that true leadership is not just about power of success, but about leading with wisdom and integrity and self-awareness of one. Leaders who embody these qualities earn the trust and the respect of their followers, creating a foundational base for leading your team that has this impact beyond that period of time that you're leading your team, which for me was always, to inspire to people to be aspirational, wanting to achieve new things. Your job is to inspire. Their job is to be aspirational. And number 5 is drive innovation with passion. So when we talk about this, passion is really just this fuel that drives innovation and motivates these visionary leaders to pursue their goals relentlessly. And I love the word relentlessly. Very few people have that in their vocabulary. Hey, let's be relentless about gaining market share. Let's be relentless about building the greatest product in the world. Let's be relentless about being disruptive. So Thomas Edison's passion for invention kept him working tirelessly, 25/8, in his lab, which resulted in innovations that have a lasting impact on society today. We all live with Edison's inventions. So if he wasn't relentless and didn't have a passion for what he was doing, we would have a different society today. Passion was also a driving force for Leonardo da Vinci, whose love of art, science, and exploration resulted in masterpieces that really continue to inspire to this day. They're beautiful masterpieces, and thank God that we had Leonardo da Vinci to give us these. And everything that he created was miraculous. So as leaders, nurturing our passion and allowing it to drive our work is key to achieving extraordinary results. So again, let's go back on these 5, these inspirational leaders, these Steve Jobs, Albert Einstein, Leonardo da Vinci, Thomas Edison, Socrates, Alexander the Great, these 5 leadership traits. of visionary icons. Lesson number 1 is relentless curiosity. Number 2, failure as a stepping stone. Number 3, inspirational vision. Number 4, lead with wisdom and integrity. Number 5 is drive innovation with passion. So in conclusion, these 5 leadership traits, embracing failure, inspiring through vision, cultivating curiosity, leading with wisdom, driving innovation, they've guided the history's greatest visionaries and allowed them to achieve sustainable success long term. So when you apply these, the more that you can apply not only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ideally, the closer you become to being visionary. I'm not saying you're going to be all 5 and you can't be Socrates, but really what Socrates has given to us is a path to being visionary. So whether you're an aspiring leader, a seasoned executive, these lessons will offer this roadmap to achieving success in your own journey. You know, many times we come across leaders that don't know where they're going on their journey, much less how to get there. The path is crooked. They go off path. They go misdirected. They get in storms. They crash and burn. They become conservative and not risky. So all of these things mold a leader. These are traits that will mold you as a visionary leader. So make sure you look back on them because they're proven traits to become visionary. So again, thank you for joining us on this episode of the Visionary Chronicles. As always, stay curious, stay inspired, and continue to lead with passion and purpose. Stay true, stay authentic, be different, and be great. But most importantly, enjoy that journey along the way. Again, thank you to those that have subscribed to the Visionary Chronicles. We greatly appreciate it. If you could please subscribe to the Visionary Chronicles, we would appreciate it. We have a leadership series, just so you understand what you're missing out on. If you don't, is that we have a leadership series coming up, 6-part series on leadership, authentic visionary leadership. And then we also have another series after that, a 7-part series in regards to making your company visionary. So the intent here is to not only build you into a visionary leader, but obviously your brand and your company. Whether you're an entrepreneur, an established executive, or someone that aspires to get to a new role and prove yourself out in your company or your brand, we'll provide that to you. And we'll provide proven examples of those visionaries that were successful and how you can apply that to your journey. So feel free to reach out to me directly at Bryan, Bryan, at liquidmindsite.com, liquidmindsite.com. The Visionary brand is still available for sale across all channels, distribution channels as well. So feel free to pick that up. Also, if you subscribe to the Visionary Chronicles, I'd mentioned in the very beginning of the podcast, the benefit you get as well is a free ebook. So when you sign up, you'll be getting a free ebook as well. But feel free to reach out to me. I love talking to those that send me questions or our team questions. And you can also sign up for those companies, brand leaders, for a free session at liquidmindsite.com. So again, thank you again for listening to the Visionary Chronicles. It's always appreciated. And we look forward to the next Visionary Chronicles. Thank you for listening to the Visionary Chronicles today. Really appreciate your time. Realize that you're extremely busy. And thank you to those also that have made us the #1 visionary and top 50 marketing global podcasts as ranked by FeedSpot. Also, thank you to those that have also purchased the Visionary brand, the success formula behind the world's most visionary brands, making us a Amazon bestseller, as well as winning the Reader's Favorite Award for Best Nonfiction Marketing Genre Book, still available through all distribution channels. And also, if you like what you hear with the Visionary Chronicles podcast, please subscribe or forward this to someone you know that may enjoy what we're talking about with the Visionary Chronicles. And you'll also get a free ebook edition. And it's available through all subscriptions: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, iHeart, Google Podcasts, all available for subscription no matter what you listen to. And also, with the release of the Visionary brand, we're also just finished our master course located at thevisionaryfiles.com. It's a 18 video learning courses, almost 2 hours of visionary lessons on what we're talking about with the Visionary brand today. So if you could pass this along as well, again, it's available at thevisionaryfiles.com. Just finished that this quarter. We have over 2,100 entrepreneurs and brand leaders who have already taken the course. And also, if you have any questions on the podcast, feel free to reach out to me at Liquid Mind, where we have free meetings that we provide. We also partner with startups, mid to large cap consumer brands, empowering these businesses to think differently, be different. We drive a passionate culture and to tell them to execute relentlessly. I'm available at liquidmindsite.com. Also, Brian at liquidmindsite.com, and also Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or LinkedIn. Feel free to reach out to me. Always love to hear your comments and feedback.